We had people stuck in traffic for 2.5 hours, 3 hours. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like I said, if I ever had to evacuate, I'd walk.
It's a nightmare. I've come from Ville-la-Salle. It took me maybe an hour and a half.
It was 9.5 kilometers in 4 hours. To me, that was absolutely absurd. People starting getting out of the car because they needed to go to the toilet so badly.
It's horrible. It's horrible. What can I say?
I try to avoid going anywhere, especially on the West Island. It's always busy all the time. It's getting worse and worse, so.
The debacle on Highway 20, the long weekend, took on a whole new meaning if you had to venture through Highway 20 West. The section of the highway was shut down. It led to major traffic for those who wanted to head west this weekend. You heard from a whole bunch of them just now. And for some, the nightmare didn't end on their drive. They even missed flights, right? Highway 20 heads right to the airport. I saw that story of that group of students, right, that were flying to Greece. They're from Sherbrooke, and they left Sherbrooke saying, oh, plenty of time to head to the airport, right? Wasn't enough time. What would normally be a 20-minute drive to the airport on most days ended up taking hours. Now, Quebec's Transport Ministry has now explained the closure, saying it was replacing old concrete, necessary work that left them no choice but to close a section. I want you to hear from Transport Quebec spokesperson Martin Girard.
So it's major reparations that are done, and we need to close the Highway 20 because of safety reasons. We don't want concrete during the work fall. People in the Montreal area are used to. There's work every weekend on the Saint-Pierre interchange in other places. We invite people to check on Quebec 511.
It's your fault. You're used to it. Come on, just go check before you head out. That's the words from Martin Girard at Transport Quebec. Rick Leckner's on the line, CJAD 800 Wall of Fame traffic reporter. Rick, where does this rank on all the screw-ups we see from Transport Quebec? Where does this rank?
It's a long list, Elias. Good morning.
Morning to you.
It ranks up there. You know, just that comment from Martin is exactly what part of the problem is. There is a total and utter and complete and unabashed lack of sensitivity on the part of Transport Quebec. They don't give a hoot, okay? And a start to this weekend mess would be if the Transport Minister, Geneviève Guilbeault, would come out and say, I'm sorry that this happened. We're very concerned about this. We will take a complete look at the situation from A to Z, a total debriefing, and make the necessary changes. I doubt that's going to happen.
You know, Rick, it's interesting, right? Because the Transport Ministry has been a bit of a revolving door in Quebec history over the last couple of decades.
At the top, but not in Montreal. And therein lies the problem.
Yeah.
There is a culture. There is a dysfunctionality which is embedded in the Greater Montreal Transport Quebec Department, which needs to be changed.
So Rick, here's the thing, right? Remember the La Fontaine Tunnel, right? And the closure of 3 of 6 lanes. I think they spent like years saying, this is coming. And I remember all the coverage we did in the lead up because they kept saying, this is coming, be prepared. And I'm not saying you need to do a year preparation if you're going to close a section of a highway for a weekend. But, I don't understand why they didn't spend 3 days last week saying, hey, this is coming. Where's the disconnect here, Rick, where they could spend so much time on some things and zero time on something like this?
The La Fontaine Tunnel project is under the banner of Les Grands Projets and is a separate department for that. What happened on the weekend is more often referred to as les projets ponctuels. Uh-huh. And that's just, the routine and you're absolutely right, because I don't think they realized how bad it was going to be. And therein lies another problem. This is Transport Quebec that's supposed to be organizing things and doing what has to be done. So they lumped the closure of Highway 20 in with all the others. Like, by the way, Highway 20 is also going to be closed between Ville Saint-Pierre and First Avenue. And by the way, also the ramp leading off the Mercier Bridge onto Highway 20 is going to be closed. Like, okay, it's routine, but it's not routine. And they need to know what their traffic flow is. They needed to know what the traffic count is. They needed to have a much better communications plan to start with ads on the radio and in newspaper and on TV warning people, this is not a secondary route by any stretch. And this is a long weekend. Mm-hmm. People are traveling. People are coming into the city. People who don't speak French are trying to read unilingual signs. It's just a nightmare of situations. They need to really take a look. They should have had better police presence. They should have had a helicopter up to oversee the situation and monitor what was going on and make changes. They maybe even should have put a train from Central Station to Dorval on the weekend just to accommodate people trying to get to the airport. Did they do any of that? Not at all.
So, Rick, when it comes down to it, people want accountability. Is there any chance of that on this thing?
I doubt it. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry to say I doubt it, because history shows that's a systemic problem within the day-to-day workings of transport. How many, like you asked me, where does this rank? There's been so many instances of this type of a situation. They just don't seem to care. I mean, they everything to them, the answer is take public transit.
Yeah, which doesn't necessarily work.
When the road's closed.
When the road's closed. So, Rick, let me ask you this. Is there more of this coming? Like, was this just a one weekend operation? Do we have to be worried about next week? What else should we expect when it comes to...
I think there will be more. Look, we're still trying to repair all of the errors of the past. You know, I drive the Laurentian Auto Route every weekend, and it is startling how bad the road is, especially up around the Porte du Nord. I mean, there's 1 or 2 kilometers where you can see through the asphalt to the bare concrete below. And, you know, you got to hold on to the steering wheel. I mean, where else is this tolerated? The signage is bad. You know, since they redid Highway 20 through the Turcotte Yard, which I question the design there, because people are still lined up, Elias, every afternoon. People are backed up all the way through the Turcotte Entity. They spent tens of millions of dollars redesigning Highway 20, and I think it's worse than it was before.
And it's because of the one-lane exits that they stuck with. Is that the reason?
It's because of the extra width of the roadway they use to put in reserved lanes, which is fine, but they need to make better use of them. It's also because there's, you know, the 2-lane actually exit or merge onto Highway 20 through Ville Saint-Pierre. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So they spent hundreds of millions of dollars of our money to make a bad situation worse.
And should there have been more coordination, various levels? Like, I'm just trying to think, like City of Montreal or City of Dorval and just the other municipalities involved here and the province. Like, should there have been more coordination there for alternative routes?
Absolutely. There should have been a plan, which, as I say, I don't know, but given past history, I don't believe they realized what the ramifications of this were going to be, and as such, didn't have a proper plan in place.
For Geneviève Guilbeault, Rick, we'll wrap up on this, right? The third link not making her many friends in the Quebec City area,
right.
This not making many friends in the Montreal area. If you have a crystal ball here, is it another revolving door situation? A transport
for the minister?
For the minister, yeah.
Look, she's a very capable lady. I think she did a good job in Sécurité Publique. She's the vice premier. I think someone's got to put their foot down at the political level and say, "Hey, we got to make some changes, not at the political level, but at the operational level."
Yeah,
it's time to make a change.
And with that, Rick, you know, I've heard people talk about how, you know, headquarters and operations should be based out of Montreal, not
Correct.
Quebec City.
Look, there is a very vast organization in Montreal. I sat on this coordination committee for 6 years, from 2011 to 2017, and it worked. Mm-hmm. So there is an organization in Montreal that should work. It's a vast organization. It doesn't work. I'll leave it with one more small example, but it's frustrating because since they redid the Ville Marie, the signage getting onto the carry is still wrong.
I know.
I suggested to them years ago to fix that. If you're coming down the Montreal-Toronto Highway, i.e. Saint-Jacques, to get on Highway 20, there is not a single sign to point you in the right direction.
Yep.
And they just don't think sometimes.
And the Boule de Carry points you to the actual street, not the auto route, but people
Correct.
see de Carry and will think, oh, that's the auto route.
Elias, I took pictures of that whenever they opened it 2 years ago. I sent it to the powers that be, and they gave me all these justifications why I know it's fine.
Rick, we got to leave it there. Thanks so much for coming on this morning.
Thank you.
That's Rick Leckner, CJAD 800 Wall of Fame traffic reporter.